3, 2, 1, go. Welcome to Grounds After Rounds.
3.
Was I mouthing the words? Was I mouthing the numbers?
No mouthing. No nodding. No.
Stop nodding.
Are you nodding off?
Maybe.
Do you have coffee today?
No, I finished it. I don't have any more.
Do you finish your coffee by like 4:45 a.m.?
No, I usually do a shot of coffee. I make 5 cups in the pot, and I fill a cup, and then I fill that thing, and I chug the first one. I want it to burn my mouth, and then I kill it, and then I kick the dog, and then I usually
do 100 push-ups
and 10 burpees as fast as possible.
Of course.
And then I make myself throw up.
Good.
And then I come to CrossFit. I'm ready to go.
That explains the morning breath.
Yeah. I don't really. None of that's true except for I pour a cup in a mug and I chug it down.
Okay,
then I
good.
usually chug 2 things of water.
Nice.
And then I'm ready to go.
Good start to your day.
And that's why I have to pee by like the middle of the 5 a.m. class.
Mm-hmm.
And I usually try and hold it and make it to the break.
See, that's what I usually, when I would coach mornings, I would have my coffee on the way, and by about 5:45, this is on deck. For those of you listening, I'm holding up a number 2. So anyway, cool. Espresso shots. Speaking of shots, espresso shots.
Oh, good.
Number 3.
Well
that was
done.
all you, actually. We work well together. We're a well-oiled machine. You oiled me up, I oiled you up, and now we work together as a machine.
We're going to wrestle later.
Yes. Right off the heels of SummerSlam.
Not that kind of wrestle. I think we're talking. I was talking of like, what's the movie with Will Ferrell plays the husband married to Tiffany Amber Thiessen's character, and he likes to oil himself up and wrestle.
No idea.
It's he lives. The main character is a Saturday Night Live's kid. He lives on a boat, drinks Cavassier. Shit.
I have no idea what this movie is.
I can't think of the actor.
Tiffany Amber Thiessen?
Yeah, she plays, and so he's a little bit of a Don Juan, the main character. He's not married or whatever,
Right.
but he like has like a true love who then that's Tiffany Amber Thiessen, and now she's a little bit older and she's married to Will Ferrell, and he's clearly gay, but not like. He's completely repressed it,
right.
And she's now seeking out the main character. I can't think of.
Wow,
it's one of those like you know what I mean? It's one of those transitions from Saturday Night Live to the movie
that just didn't like make a lot of noise.
Yeah, it was good. I mean, it was funny, but it was in the age of like Adam Sandler's.
Yeah. We're going to look this up as we continue to go.
As we go.
Speaking of which movies I watched, there's this movie called Drunk Parents on Netflix.
Okay.
So here's the cast. Alec Baldwin, Selma Hayek, who's on my list, number 1, FYI. Megan knows this.
Laminated?
Laminated.
Which one is this laminated? I know I'm not on the laminated list.
Jim Gaffigan.
Oh, jeez. Does he do the voices, or is he an actual actor? Like, is he actually?
He's an actor. Yes, he's actually a registered sex offender.
Oh,
in the movie.
Okay.
And a couple of the actors, I can't think of their
better.
names, but I've seen them before. But I was like, that's a pretty good cast, right? And
pretty horrible movie.
Pretty horrible movie.
All right.
Like, it was pretty bad. It was just so dumb.
Yeah.
The idea is these parents just sent their daughter off to college, and he was this like. He was a doctor that came up with this new procedure that apparently like went horribly wrong and basically lost all his money, but they still have this like mansion, and they have like no money left, but they just sent their daughter off to school. And so now they're like trying to figure out ways to
make some
money. And so like
Keggers.
Jim Gaffigan comes in because Alec Baldwin is watching his next door neighbor's house while he's away for the next 4 months. He decides to rent his house out on Craigslist on a drunken hangout with his wife, and so he rents it out to this. Jim Gaffigan's character shows up because he saw the Craigslist ad, rents the house. They found out after they cashed the check from him already that he's a registered sex offender. So then they try to switch houses because they don't want a registered sex offender living in like their
They're
neighbor's
rented.
house. So we'll switch up for a few months, and then
boy.
they like. But it's just like it's this whole. It's a mess. And it was like I even remember looking at it, thinking like, okay, like this is a good cast. Like even though I've never heard of this movie, and the premise sounds really stupid, it can't be that bad,
Right.
And it was that bad.
It was that bad.
Yeah. So anyway, that's not my gratitude this week. My gratitude is wrestling. My overall reaching gratitude, which I think will come throughout the duration of the espresso shots, is Fairlands CrossFit, the community, the people that are part of it. So we're just going to assume that's a given for today, and then I'll have my other one at the end that I'm excited to share. So anyway, awesome.
Okay.
So we'll kick off some more like CrossFit stuff. So Eric Rosa, the new
You get those
owner,
you get those if you successfully complete your level 1.
Actually, I think you can just buy them now.
Oh, really?
I think you can just buy them now.
Even with the pyramid on the back?
Yeah, I think you can just buy them now.
That's
So
lame.
if you want to tell people you did a level 1 and didn't, I think you can go to the CrossFit shop, or what's it like, Wit that runs it now or something. Anyway, so CrossFit owner and CEO Eric Rosa held a town hall meeting, Zoom meeting Wednesday last week. And spent about an hour, like almost an hour and a half, kind of touching base on where CrossFit's going, in the way of the business itself, the affiliates, the games, and kind of everything in between, and then answered some questions at the end that I didn't listen to.
Well, they were questions from the get-go.
Yeah.
Nicole, people had submitted questions. Nicole then curated them, and they picked ones either.
And that's how they kind of
right.
Yeah.
They either said these were the most common, or they were the ones they wanted to answer.
Right.
You don't know exactly what their curation process was.
Right. It's a very it came off nice. Then there were questions like, what's your favorite song? What's your favorite movie?
There?
Yeah, there was like a couple at the end. Yeah.
I fell asleep. So
yeah, at the end. It was just some of like the random throwaway questions which he never really answered anyway, because they're like, what's your favorite movie? He's like, how can you really pick?
Yeah.
We've had this conversation too. It's like, what's your favorite book? You can really ask me to pick my favorite. I could pick my favorite kid easier than I could pick my favorite book.
Yeah.
So anyway, so cool. We'll kind of kick off. And again, should we start the timer?
Yes.
There's 5 minutes. Here we go.
Yeah.
All right. 3, 2, 1. All right. So a couple things he first started talking about was the expansion of CrossFit outside of the United States. So I think he even said US is only 5% of the world population, and we have this feeling that everything is happening here, but there's actually a lot more going on outside of it. Do you want to go from there?
Sure. I don't know. Where do you want me to go?
So he was talking about expanding CrossFit internationally. Yeah. And so his goal is in the next 5 to 10 years, looking back and seeing that right now CrossFit, about a little bit more than 50% of affiliates operate outside of the United States. He's thinking 5 to 10 years, we're going to see 80 to 90% of affiliates operate outside the United States.
Yeah. So I would say across the whole town hall, it was just glaringly obvious that, and not in a bad way, that, Eric Rosa at heart is an entrepreneur, and is a business savvy business person who does CrossFit and who loves CrossFit. So if I'm growing a world or an international business and the majority of my focus is on the US, I at best alienate 95% of the world.
Yes.
At worst, I probably alienate not only 95% of the world, but I also alienate a lot of the US because of, they see themselves as elitist and whatever. And so in that sense, of course it makes sense if he wants to meet the mission statement of being the world's leading platform of health, happiness, and performance. You're going to have to consider the rest of the world and what that looks like, and how does this policy or how you manage this, how's that influenced by this country's rules and regulations, and right, he's a software guy, or I say that, his background is in
a software company
tech stuff, right? And I don't know. I think he was an engineer, maybe. Yeah. But then he became
I just know he has a really good Fran time.
Yeah, yeah, and because he's got a great head. Yeah. Cool bald head.
Yeah. Should do
but
that
it's
next.
but it's business stuff,
Yeah.
right? Glassman from the very get-go said he was a horrible businessman. Like he
Yeah.
hated business, and
Yeah.
right. So like if it was 10 years ago, 5 years ago, and Eric Rosa is like, hey, I want to be a part of HQ, and I want to see, you know, I can see that meeting going like this, you know, Glassman being like, sure, you know, sit at the table over there,
Yeah.
right? And anytime a business question would come up, Glassman would be like, that's Eric's. Let Eric deal with that. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like he did not care about business. He did
Mhm.
not care about the rest of the world. He didn't care about the United States. I don't know that for a fact. This is Jack Ryan's opinion. He cared about his existential philosophy of the most,
Creating an elegant solution.
yeah,
to the
thank you.
world's
Most
vexing
elegant,
problem.
exactly.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of genius. It's also the curse of genius, is
Yeah.
that most time genius looks really similar to crazy.
Yeah.
They're kind of right. And so sometimes genius looks like asshole.
Yeah.
It looks like, you know, racist, misogynistic, you know, misunderstood, right? That's what geniuses do. They alienate people, they piss people off, they get in the way of themselves.
They tend to change the world. That's
You
for
got
sure.
it. And so in that, there's one thing you can say about Greg Glassman: he was never boring.
Mm-hmm.
But god dang it, no way he would ever be able to build the business that Eric Rosa is going to build. And so, it was really cool.
And I loved hearing, like, so he hired so it's now the GM of international. So like this guy's like one role is to pay attention.
Yeah.
Like
that's US centric. Yeah. Right. And he will be listened like, hey, Eric, that's nope. You got to be thinking about that, right? Where that's the part that is really healthy and really important as this company or as the you know, entity wants to grow. It's also really boring.
Yeah. Right. Because like, which is funny because I think a lot of people who are like, I need to see change and I need to see this change right now. Like, what are they going to do?
How much time do you spend in Zen Planner a day?
Me? Probably more than I want to, but I don't
seriously. How much? Like really, how much do you spend in it?
I don't know, 20 minutes.
Right. I'm in there 3.5 to 4 hours a day.
Because you're like breaking down all the
That's the stuff that if you want to run a business, you have to do the boring stuff. Andrew needed some stuff yesterday. He's like, hey, can you tell me? I'm like, I got an hour and then I got to get back to stuff. And he goes, well, you said you only had an hour. What do they? And I'm like, Andrew, there is no they, right? When you work for the Navy or when you work for IBM or when you work for whatever and you have a boss and the boss says like, hey, yeah, you got it. Like, then there's a they because they are signing your paycheck. But when there's when there's nobody, it's, no, I schedule 3 hours every afternoon to get in and fix it. And we're small. Yeah. Right. And it's still time consuming and boring and pedantic and mundane. Yeah. And everyone can make fun and be like, oh my God, you're so OCD. Oh my God. It's great. Yeah. Hey, guess what? When there's nothing left because nobody pays attention to it and nobody cares. Yep. God, I wish there had been a they. Yeah. I wish someone had done this. Yeah. I wish someone had said, oh, you guys need to sign up for your classes. I wish someone had said that. That's Eric Rosa. Yeah. And he is boring as all get out. Yeah. And that's why I fell asleep and I love him for it. Yeah. I love that he's thinking about this stuff because that's how this is going to exist for the next 10, 20, 30, 40 years. Yeah. Right? Under Glassman, it would have flamed out. Yeah. Because he hadn't trained anybody to be the boring behind the scenes guy. And anybody who was boring and behind the scenes, they alienated. They made feel like, oh, you're not cool. You're not part of the cool kid club. Right. Like, oh, that shit's not important. Don't worry about it. Yeah. No, mission statements are important. They give people something to understand and point to. Yeah. And so, yeah, I love it. I love that that's Rosa's point and that's what he wants to get to. And I think it's gonna be awesome. Yeah. I think it's gonna be really hard to watch those quarterly town halls. Yeah. Maybe the first, second. And you know what's funny? I look at like Tommy, the fitness with friends or not fitness, Talking Elite Fitness. They're so disappointed, right? You know, because you know what they wanted? They wanted fireworks. Juicy, They wanted Glassman. They wanted this excitement. And so guess what? Nobody watches Microsoft's or Google's quarterly planning meetings. Nope. Why not? Because they're boring.
They are,
Because it's
like-
business.
And and we said it before, like people, I think originally said they want to see this, they want to see this one. They just want to see snapshots. Like, what are you doing? You are
Right.
great. Perfect.
Right.
But do they want to hear him discuss
Nope.
how he hired a director of this, a GM of this, a manager of this, their roles this, their roles this?
So those town halls are going to twilight, and I'm glad they will. But I'm glad that they're offering that transparency.
Yeah.
I'm really happy to hear that there's somebody who actually understands how all this stuff. And not to say that Glassman didn't understand how it works. He just, I don't think emotionally or he just didn't care.
Well, I think he was the difference.
In a good way.
The difference is like Glassman took it and said, use my name. Here's a bunch of stuff from our website that you can use to be a better trainer, be a better affiliate owner, be a better coach, whatever that is. It's like, and do it however you want to do it. And if you're good at it, you'll stick around. And if you're not, you won't.
Right.
And I think for the most part, we were kind of like, all right, cool. Like, all right, we got it. And then I think there are a lot of people who are like, well, I need, gyms are getting shut down. Why aren't you helping us? Gyms are, how are we supposed to deal with, running classes online? What are we supposed to do? Like, people wanted more like hand holding, which is fine. I get it. Cause some people need
You ever seen
that.
Good Will Hunting?
Yeah. Numerous times.
Yes. The scene where Will is in what's his face's office near the end, not Robin Williams' character, but I can't think of his name, Fields Medal. And,
yeah.
And he's like, I just want to be a part of it. Right. Like, and he's telling Will, and Will kind of turns around and he's lit the proof on fire.
Right.
Basically the proof where he's proved his
Yeah.
mentor,
Yeah.
never his mentor, wrong.
Yeah.
Right. Like, oh my God, this will be embarrassing if this is true. And he's like, it's right. Right. And he lights it on fire and he goes, look, I just don't want to spend the rest of my life watching all of you fuck it up. And he burns the proof. But he's like, this took me 5 minutes. I could do this in my sleep.
Yeah.
And that, right, he is a complete ass.
Yeah.
Like, he is just absolutely an asshole. And you watch, and he puts it out, and then he realizes, because that guy is the mathematician, the mentor character. He is wicked smart. He's smarter than 99.9% of us.
Yeah.
But he's not that point other 1%.
Yeah.
And that's what he's one in a lifetime. Genius.
Mm-hmm.
That disconnect is the disconnect that I think we as affiliate owners and we as a CrossFit community wanted the go-between. We wanted somebody who could teach us, who could be just a little bit edgy, but not like so edgy that they,
make the nightly news.
Exactly. And insult, so many people, which is still debatable. But like, just so close to that, like, ooh, this is so good, tricky.
Yeah. That's a good point.
So that's, I feel like that's what we've got somebody finally who can take it the next step. And again, like, I think that was Greg Glassman recognizing it and stepping away and being like, oh, okay, like, I still disagree with all of you. Like, I was pretty clear. None of you actually understood what I said. Yeah. But it's divisive enough for me that, okay, I'm gonna walk. Right, exactly. I guess I should bounce. Yeah, I should go ahead and take my genius somewhere else and put my focus somewhere else.
And so where I appreciated Glassman's mindset too was like, hey, like, here's what you need, go do it. And again, may the best survive. I do appreciate from Rose's standpoint where he wants to give people a little bit more assistance,
scaffolding, guidance,
and all that. In which case, at the end of the day, what is like, wouldn't we love to see 10 million we'd love to see 100,000 CrossFit affiliates as a business standpoint. Like, do I want to see 3 right across the street from us? Not necessarily, but the more successful CrossFit gyms there are, the more healthy, happy, performing well people there are in the world. And like, that's our goal.
To be honest with you though, I don't want any more guidance. Like, I really don't. If we like transition out of, so I don't really think there was much else that came out of the town hall. Yeah. I mean, the Open's in the spring. We all already knew that. Yeah. There's nothing really new about the games. No. Like, it doesn't really matter. It's just kind of entertainment, and that'll be figured out. Yeah. But I mean, like, I think it's irresponsible of anyone to want them to come up with some sort of plan when no, you know,
Playing for the
multi-billion,
games.
any sort of professional sport, multi-billion sport industries, aka football, doesn't know what it's doing this fall. It might say it does. It doesn't know what it's doing. So how would CrossFit, which is a fledgling professional sport entity that makes zero money and is not really a very lucrative ecosystem, how the hell are they going to know what the hell they're going to do?
Yeah.
They just got, he spoke specifically and clearly about what he could speak specifically and clearly about. He did not offer anything else other than this is what we're looking at and these are possibilities.
This is what we're hearing. This is what we're seeing. Castro has some great things planned because
that's a hell of a move by a business person who understands, like, I'm giving you an answer, but I'm also not putting myself into any sort of corners. So it wasn't like politician doublespeak, but it wasn't like, oh, well, he said, and he said, and he said. And so,
which I like him so far.
He's he's
very talking
respectable.
About what he can and not what he can't.
Yeah. So
anyway, cool.
But with that, now you wanted to transition to over the last 3 years, what I've been most grateful about as an affiliate owner is the complete absence of specificity around what I have to do as a business owner. And in all reality, you only have to go back to the 2002, 2004, and 2006 journal years. And there are articles in there by Greg Glassman, by Lon Kilgore, by Mike Workington, by a couple other folks. They lay out how to run a successful affiliate. And it is not 8,000 square feet designed this way with this and blah, 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 blah. This is actually do not sell t-shirts multiple times. Do not sell supplements. Do not diversify your income stream outside of train small, be specific, be personal, make relationships. It is an experiential business. It is about creating and crafting an experience for somebody that they're not going to be able to get anywhere else. And you do it in groups of 2s and 4s and 6s so that they can pay less prices, but get that personal training feeling.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's it.
And if you're doing it well, the results will follow and the people will come. And in all reality, that is true. You know, tell your people stories. You do that ridiculously well. Be as professional and as expert as you can in your trade. And so what that really has meant for me for the last 3 years is do this. Like, don't do this, do this. And if, again, people listening, I'm creating about an inch space with my fingers, not the 12 feet of my arms.
And sometimes I feel like we've started to stretch that 1 inch and then we come right back.
So when you do this and you do this better than anybody else, guess what? People will come and they'll keep coming and they'll keep coming and they'll ask, hey, can you? Hey, can you? Hey, and they'll keep asking for more and more to widen this more and more. No. No, that's not what I do.
No.
This is what we do. This is when we do it, and this is where we do it.
Yeah.
And that's it. And that's what will make it successful. The noise around, I think what has been also a gratitude is watching the noise around this industry, basically like a merry-go-round, be like, you gotta do personal training. You got to get more group classes. You got to market. You got to funnel. You got to go virtual. Don't go virtual. You got to, like, it's just this constant merry-go-round.
Yeah.
And in the end, if you watch Glassman's Chasing Excellence speech that Bergeron stole the term. Did he steal it or just hijack it? I don't know if he's ever given Glassman credit.
That's a good point.
For that term, because there's a speech where he talks about chase money or chase excellence.
Right.
And chasing money, you're going to have a limit. You chase excellence, everybody recognizes excellence, and they will pay. The money will follow, but don't chase the money.
Yeah.
Chase quality, and when you chase that along the road, if you chase excellence along the road, you're going to get pretty damn good. And so that to me has been the best part of this the last 3 years, is whether it was in the garage, whether it's here, whether it's on Zoom, whether it's been, in the parking lot of PAL, like, it doesn't matter. if we do what we're supposed to do and we do it as best as we can do it, we'll always be okay.
Yeah.
So
I think we have been.
yeah, that's mine.
Yeah. Mine was, I was kind of stretching out. I've loved seeing like this evolution of this thing that's, you know, I was saying to you before we got on, was like we were an affiliate. We were still in the garage as an affiliate. It was about 3 months later that we found this place. It was about 4 months later before we actually started working out in this place, and just kind of thinking about like what this community has become from then. Cause it was about 15, 16 people then. And I said, we found this place, we opened the doors, and then basically our entire membership was in here painting the walls, building the boxes, putting equipment together, like loading up their cars with the barbells and the dumbbells and the stuff, bringing it all here. And then still seeing though that like, yes, that group has grown, but still that like commitment to this space. It's not just, you know, the difference between us and like, I love Rosa too. He says big box gym. He doesn't say Globo gym. He says big box gym. You know,
which nobody knows what he's talking about. Like inside the CrossFit world, they do, but outside, like nobody knows what that means.
Big box gym.
Yeah.
As opposed to Globo gym, or just like that, like
even
that
Globo
relatively term. Yeah.
When he was on CNBC
Yeah.
yesterday or whatever, and they posted, like,
yeah,
I would say 80% of his language, nobody understands what he's talking about.
Yeah.
And it was, I found it humorous. If you watched what they were showing people doing, I've never seen that in a CrossFit class.
Yeah.
Like that's accessory work that maybe people are doing, but like,
yeah.
And maybe I'm just not going to the right CrossFit classes. I don't know.
Yeah.
But like the rowing part, maybe.
Yeah.
But it was, right. So visually they were trying to be relatable to a general population.
Right.
His narrative was not, and maybe I'm wrong, right? Who knows where it'll land? But from what I've read and what I'm currently reading on like, you know, the power of story and narrative in a marketing context, none of what he was saying, I think, bridges to a general audience. But
isn't that, maybe that's also, I don't know if this is intention, but maybe that's also part of the intrigue. It's like,
there's no myth to what there's no landing of a challenge, a hero that overcame that challenge, a lesson that was learned, and a moral or an ethos that is able to be taken away.
Yeah.
And it's all wrapped up into one.
Yeah.
Right. That's the power of a story. That's the power of myth, to bridge the gaps in audiences.
Right.
That's why religion has existed and continue. Sorry, too much. Right. But those things allow for the transmission of stories from generation to generation to generation, because those elements of the story land every single time with us as people.
Right.
That's absent right now from what he was saying in that interview. There's no narrative. There's no myth.
Yeah.
There's no story to it. It was boring.
Well, they have that email address. If you want to, there's an email address they provided. It's like, send us any and all of your ideas and critiques.
Yeah. It's the thing that, right? Like Glassman's how he named the workouts after women, right? Like there's a myth to it. There's a narrative. There's a story. Hey, it is very possible, and it is extremely offensive. And it's probably its history and where it came from was probably super offensive and inappropriate. But he tells it, and he even allude to it with, you know, whatever. And so maybe it's time to twilight that version of the myth and recreate a new one. But that's what's missing, to come back to Rosa. So maybe I'll send some feedback to it. But how does that land, right? Like I don't have a solution. I'm just that. Then I'm just what I.
Which
get
is
infuriated
which
by.
Can you change the music?
Right. Like if you're going to show up with poop, you better have some toilet paper to hand me. You know what I mean? Like I had a chief of staff who I worked for who was awesome. And he's like, you know, we're going to up our rating. Hey, if all you're going to offer me is shit sandwiches, you better fucking give me some toilet paper to go with it. I understand that there are some shit sandwiches that need to be handed out. Don't just give me the shit sandwich. Give me some goddamn toilet paper. Like, and he'd lost it. And I was like, okay, so bring solutions. Got it. Got it.
Solutions,
Everybody can see the problem.
Yeah.
Nobody's bringing the solution.
Yeah.
Show up with a solution. So if I were to say that, that's me just showing up with a shit sandwich.
Yeah.
What is the story? Like, offer a story, and maybe it's, local, right? And so that would be where, unless I had some sort of very specific and deliberate, like something like this, and I don't. And so until I do, I don't feel appropriate like offering that feedback to them. Plus, also, it's unnecessary, right? Like if I'm relying on Big C, Big F, CrossFit Inc. to create that myth for me as a local CrossFit affiliate, well, then I'm not doing my due diligence.
Yeah.
You create that every single day on our social media platform. You have created, we've looked at it, you have created a very coherent narrative that is 100% authentic to who we are and what we are. So you're doing your job.
I hope so.
And I would say if they wanted to see what that model looks like, follow your affiliates' leads.
Yeah.
Do that for the brand, for the CrossFit global brand.
Yeah.
And he's getting there, right? Time.
Yeah. Right.
Patience.
Yeah.
I have patience and time. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, I think they'll get there. He's too damn good not to.
Yeah.
It's just, a lot of stuff to fix.
It's a lot of stuff to fix, right?
This all went down in June and July. It's August, right? Like, they'll get there.
The changing of the owner and the CEO and all that.
Yeah.
And like a couple weeks time, it's like
been kind of busy.
that doesn't really actually happen
Right.
in the real world.
Yeah.
So
I have no doubt. There's wicked smart people working there.
Yeah.
Like they'll make it happen. They don't need my noise.
Yeah. So, so back to where I was saying, like my highlights. Sorry. My highlights was like from coming in the gym. Here's all the members putting the box together. And I said it was about a year later we did the Barbells for Booze. We partnered with Ken Island, and we realized like, oh, if we're gonna have some sort of community event here, like we're gonna have to really like limit it to just us, because it became this thing bigger than we expected, because we were jammed in here on a rainy day with like no room to wiggle, or wiggle room, as they say.
I like your no room to wiggle.
No room to wiggle.
You can always find room to wiggle, my friend.
And then just going into this last, let's say the last 6 months, COVID hits, we shut down. Just everyone kind of sticking together, and then B, your just how you were able to kind of like take the lead and really just kind of kept things running were awesome. So like this 3 years has been very like, anyway, that's my highlights of year 3. That's what I got. It's been a fun 3 years.
It has been.
Except for this next one. This next one's gonna be the best one. We'll see.
It'll just be another year, man.
Yeah.
It's just another year.
All right, gratuities.
I think we kind of did them, right?
Gratuitousness.
They were kind of wrapped into the 3, or no?
Yeah. Oh, but I'm gonna hold on one in particular. Like I said, mine's given Fairwinds CrossFit. Thanks, guys. Gratitude.
Mine's my oldest, Andrew. Ton of fun yesterday. He's applying for a job, and he was very artful in his hey, can you give me a ride to go finish paperwork and then go get a drug test and like all this stuff. And he did it very well. He got me over myself. And when it was all said and done, he's like, hey, he's like, thanks. I really appreciate you driving me this afternoon. I said, yeah, no problem. He goes, yeah, I would have done it all myself, but as you saw, I wouldn't have been able to do all that because he needed a parent signature for one spot. We had to drive like all the way around Annapolis.
Oh, yeah.
And so he was very prescient in his ability to manage me.
Yeah. He's learning.
And he did it, whether he was conscious of it or not. I'm pretty sure he was, because he's too smart not to.
Yeah.
I felt very handled.
Yeah.
And it was nice. So well done, Big A. You're very impressive, and I'm very grateful to call him my boy.
He told me yesterday, he goes, I took my first ever drug test today. I was like, and I go, did you stay up all night studying for it? He goes, no. He's so funny. I'm excited. He's working at Truxton.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
The Ken R. Dunn Municipal Swimming Pool. Oh, Ken B. Dunn. Ken R. is actually B is not his real middle initial.
But that's what you guys are changing it to?
No, that's what it's always been. He's always referred to himself as Ken B. Dunn.
Oh.
His middle name is actually Richard. But he said when he was in school, he was like elementary school, a teacher said to him, like, Ken Dunn. Don't say it can't be done, say it can be done.
Nice.
And then from then on, he said, can be done.
What's on the wall? Is it Ken R. Dunn or Ken B. Dunn?
I think it's the can be done. Oh, God, I hope it's can be done. I think it's because it was can be done back a while ago. Yeah. Anyway, so
Not your gratitude.
Not my gratitude. My gratitude is actually, you guys are going to laugh, but whatever, it's me, the world of professional wrestling. And here's why. So through all the stuff that's going on the last 6 months, I feel like professional wrestling has stuck to doing what it does best, entertaining people.
Imagine that.
It is not, and like as divisive as I feel like there are a lot of things in the world right now, it's stuck to doing what it does. We are sports entertainment. We are professional wrestlers. We tell stories. We provide action. We provide entertainment. Like that's all we do. And so, you know, watching baseball and watching basketball and watching football, I love it. And I appreciate what people are trying to do to bring like awareness to this and that. But that's not why I watch sports. I watch sports to get away from it. I come work out to get away from this stuff every once in a while. And wrestling has been that escape.
Yeah.
And so one thing that it was doing, first it was doing shows in an empty, basically a small empty arena, just the match, empty arena. Then they said, okay, we're going to put up glass barriers like at hockey arenas around the around like the barriers, and then all like the up and comer wrestlers are going to be the crowd, but they're all standing 6 feet apart. They have masks on, blah blah blah. Last week they made this transition. It was kind of similar to the NBA in their bubble. They moved to this, I think it's Oracle Arena or something in Orlando, and they call it Thunderdome. It's so cool. They have the ramp, they have the jumbotron, they have the ring, and then and they still have like the barricade up. But they have these giant LED screens, almost like levels and stands, where they have like people like zoomed in, like all their faces in the crowd. So it's like they have a crowd.
It's like
people
it's like Max Headroom. Remember that show from the 80s?
No.
Okay. Yeah.
No. But it's but I mean, you see, I mean, so there's a row of fans, a row of fans, a row of fans.
Just their faces.
Just their faces, but they're actually watching, like they're watching the show, but they're in the stands. And so the wrestlers themselves, like,
feel like
they have people that they
them.
can like point to, they can talk to. Like such a big part of pro wrestling is interacting with the crowd, and they haven't really had a crowd to interact with, which like
they still been crushing it.
And it's so wild and it's so cool. But like they're doing what they do best, and it's entertain. And so my gratitude is the world of professional wrestling, and whether you think it's silly, fake, whatever, it was. I had a lot of fun. It was a big pay-per-view this past Saturday, this past Sunday, and a few of my friends and I were all like texting each other the entire time. Like I haven't done that in a while, which has been a lot of fun.
That's awesome.
So anyway, pro wrestling. Thank you.
Well done, pro wrestling. Well done.
As usual. Cool. Awesome. All right.
I had a joke. I can't think of it.
So so it was so Duff McKagan, former bassist of, actually probably still bassist of Guns N' Roses.
Oh yeah.
So Chris Jericho, one of my favorite wrestlers, does a podcast, and Duff McKagan does a Friday joke of the week on the show every week, and he just calls in and throws it in. So this one was from him, but he said this one probably had more it like made more sense in the context of like the year of 1991. But he goes, I just flew in from Chernobyl, and boy are my arms legs.
That's kind of funny. Yeah. It's very Simpson. I want to remember this one now. Or I want to. That's not where I want to go. It was one of the Dad Says jokes, but it was, which I still think are. Dang it! It was a while ago.
Dawn Roach sent me one yesterday. It was said a guy walks into a bar in Mexico, and the bartender asks, "What do you need?" And he goes, "I'll take a Corona and 2 Hurricanes." And the bartender says, "That'll be 2020, please."
That's good. What do you call a fish wearing a tie? Sophisticated.
Awesome.
All right, folks.
3.
That's
you got
right.
3.
3 of them for 3 years. 3 jokes for 3 years.
Cool.
All
See
right.
you guys on the creek, off the creek, in your face.